everybody. Lisa A. Romano here, the Breakthrough Life Coach, and I'm bowing to the love and the light that is absolutely in you. That's right, there's a light inside of you. Even if you can't feel it, even if you can't touch it, it's there. It only means that if you can't touch it, it only means that you have been taught that it's not there, but it is, okay? And my channel is dedicated to helping you find the light within and living your best life yet. I want to read you a letter that I received today that was a little troubling, and it was a letter from someone who is upset with my channel. And so I wanted to share that with you guys today and give you my thoughts on it because I think it might help some of you out there. So she writes, I really don't know why you spread this narcissistic parent abuse. You are poisoning kids against their mothers. These kids think they have a reason for alienating their mothers, ? I am shocked by your spread of parental alienation and how you make kids think it's the right thing to do. Maybe you should talk about honor and respect. If they think they have a problem dealing with their families, they should feel professional help instead of your harmful words. I'm just reading what she wrote. You think you can blame your mother? She is just a person. You probably abused her too. My mother was severely abusive, and I understood, grew up, and accepted her, cared for her until her dying death. No mother deserves to leave the world dying because people listen to your videos. Deal with it and don't spread this garbage to unfeeling brains. She wrote, grew up, and I think she meant grow up. Okay, so I will not share her name because that wouldn't be fair. But anyway, I wanted to let you guys know that I did respond to this viewer, and my feelings are this, that my videos are for victims of narcissistic abuse who are now severely codependent and struggle because they don't have a sense of self. My channel is for people who grew up with narcissistic mothers who did horrible, shameful things to their children, amongst things like, for instance, refuse to allow their children to have an identity because every time their child opened their mouth, their mother had to minimize, marginalize, discredit, or gaslight them. My channel is for abused children from dysfunctional homes who have been raised by mothers who were severely abusive and fathers who were severely abusive and who did what they could to inflict damage and harm on their children because they were not yet healed. My channel is for people who suffer from narcissistic abuse and codependency, who feel so disoriented, who are so out of touch with reality because day in and day out, their internal reality was violated and invalidated by the people who are supposed to take care of them. I coach clients who have been sexually abused by their mothers and their fathers. I coach clients who have had feces smeared in their face by their borderline narcissistic mothers and fathers. I coach clients who have been literally tied to bedposts. I coach people who very oftentimes are so confused about why they keep marrying a narcissistic partner or why they keep marrying an alcoholic and they don't know what they're doing wrong. Because when they were children, their experiences were consistently invalidated by the people who were supposed to love them. You know, when you grow up in a narcissistic home and your feelings are completely obliterated and you bring home a grade thinking that your mother is going to be so happy that you got an A, and she says, well, your cousin got an A+, or, you know, what do you think? You can buy my love because you got an A? What are you trying to impress me? What are you trying to show off because I didn't graduate high school? When you are constantly met with this type of sarcasm and this type of gaslighting and this type of minimizing, when your experiences are compared to the experiences of other people, and because your parents have a narcissistic injury, they're unable to meet you, you are being abandoned, you are being discarded, you are being rejected, you are suffering severe wounds, abandonment and rejection. You're being discarded by the people who are supposed to take care of you. Now, I understand this viewer. I understand her to a point that, you know, there could be people who are watching these videos and who are using what I share or what someone else shares. There are plenty of people out here trying to share what they've learned on their journey with other people who are trying to figure out their stuff. And I do think that in some cases there are children who might listen to what people like me are saying, and they might use that as an excuse to go after their mom because mom asked them to clean up the dishes after they had some friends over, you know, and that's just mom trying to teach some responsibility. So, but in most cases, people who gravitate towards my channel, that's not them. People who gravitate towards my channel, in my opinion, based on the emails that I get and the comments that I get in my YouTube channel, are people who did not know what was wrong, because this type of invalidation was their norm. This type of not trusting their own instincts because their mothers and fathers gaslit them so much that they could not trust their own instincts. You know, being told that when they have one feeling, being told that they should not have that feeling, they should think this or they should do that. Not having their internal experience validated by the people who were supposed to nurture and love them has caused them to distrust their realities. And now today they feel dissociated. They feel disoriented. Those are the people that my channel speaks to. At least I hope so. Now, in response to what she's saying about honoring your mother and father, what I hear in this letter is somebody who, because she said her mother was severely abusive. My mother, and she mentions my mother too, my mother was abused also as a child, but that did not give her the right to abuse me. That did not give her the right to reject me, to discard me, to gaslight me, to be passive aggressive, to embarrass me in front of people, to constantly make me wonder if she loved me. You know, you're talking about pushing a child so far away that they're suicidal. That was my reality. No matter what happened to my mother, she didn't have a right to do what she did to me. Have we come a long way, my mother and I? Yes. Okay. That's my journey. But no mother has a right to hurt her child because she was hurt. Okay. And if that happens because we're all asleep, but hopefully on this journey, many of us are waking up. Mothers like myself and mothers like so many of you and fathers like so many of you are waking up and realizing we have to end this cycle of abuse. We cannot live below the veil anymore. To this viewer who was severely abused, I am sorry that you were so abused by your mother. You deserved better. And the way you dealt with it was, it sounds like you say you just accepted it. Well, you can accept that you've been abused, but that doesn't mean you've dealt with it. I don't think you've dealt with it because I feel and sense a lot of anger. You know, perhaps you have an issue with, just a possibility, perhaps you have an issue with people like me and people who enjoy my channel. Perhaps you have an issue with people who dare to tell their truth, who have found the right to say, this happened to me. It sounds to me like you might be struggling with the fact that someone that you took care of abused you so greatly, you know, and that's difficult to deal with. So many people end up taking care of their narcissistic aging parents after years and years of abuse. And the best thing to do is not to pretend you have not been abused. The best thing to do is to acknowledge that you have been abusive, to deal with that appropriately, to heal, and then if you want to take care of your aging parent, then you can. But it sounds to me like there's a lot of unresolved stuff here, and I will never stop speaking on behalf of people who have been abused, who are finding it difficult to trust their instincts, and who even find it difficult to accept and to say out loud, yes, this was abusive. It is so heroic for somebody to say out loud, this happened, especially when you come from a narcissistic home where there has been scapegoating, where there has been triangulation, where siblings have been turned on one another, and where every time you opened your mouth to say, this happened, you were told it didn't happen, or you were told that you shouldn't feel the way you feel. It is heroic for somebody who has grown up in a narcissistic home to stand up and say, this happened to me. Because your entire life you've been taught to distrust your experiences. And you know that the minute you find the courage to say, this happened, they're coming for you. They're coming for you. Your mother's coming for you. Your father, this smear campaign is going to start. They're going to abuse you. They're going to start talking crap about you. You just have to prepare yourself. You know, so I speak for and on behalf of people who don't even know yet that the reason that they dissociate and they have anxiety and they're suffering from PTSD is because they were abused. And it's not easy, especially in a society that glorifies mothers, even mothers who don't deserve it, and fathers who don't deserve it. Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever. You know, it is not easy to accept your reality. It's not easy to accept it, and it's not easy to talk about it. So I'm so sorry that your experience is this. that you were severely abused and you took care of your mother and it doesn't sound like any healing happened. You just think that you could just accept it, wipe it under the rug. My agenda is not to teach children to just disrespect their mothers. My agenda is to teach children to honor themselves. And if they are being narcissistically abused, they have a right to stop it. And if that means going no contact with their parents, then that's what it means. If they have to save themselves by going no contact, I do advocate that, because the abuse has to stop. And nobody has to tolerate being abused, and especially not by the people who are supposed to love them the most. So thank you very much, dear one, for your letter. I hope that clears things up. And I hope that anybody out there who is feeling like, similarly to what I explained, like disoriented, out of touch with reality, you don't trust your feelings, maybe you need to dig a little bit deeper and ask yourself why. Because if you grew up in a home where you were validated and mirrored back a healthy sense of self, then you might not be struggling today to wonder who you are and whether or not you're worthy. You might not be struggling to keep hold of your reality. That's it for today, dear ones. Namaste. And again, I'm bowing to the love and the light that is absolutely in you. Dazzle and shine so brightly that nobody ever can ever cast a shadow over you again. Bye for now.